Greetings, Earthbound travelers. It's Friday. That means it's time for Cast Guidance. I'm Tier the DM, he, him. And with me, as always, is Raph the Mad.
Greetings, gamers. How you doing?
Thank you so much for tuning in today. Before we get into today's topics, because we can't stick to just a topic, we go on tangents around here. We do have a couple of quick announcements. First and foremost, we are for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Secondly, we are in no way, shape, form affiliated or associated with any TTRPG manufacturers, creators, or publishers. We are just a group of individuals coming together to give our questionable opinion on topics. We want to give big shout out to our musician who made our amazing theme song, our very own Patrick Taylor. You can find them over on Twitter at Peculiar Patrick, and our affiliates in this endeavor to help bring this great content to you. There is Red Panda Dice and Delights. They make some beautiful dice, and they've got some dice bags and stuff coming to the shop soon. You can check them out over at redpandadice.com. Phineas Coffee, when you need that caffeine boost to get you through to your next save point, check out Phineas Coffee at bit.ly/WOTD Phineas. That's WOTD PHINEAS. And finally, NordVPN. When you want to have fast, reliable, secure connection on the internet, plus change your location so you can see what's going on the UK Netflix, head on over to willofthedice.com, click on Nord's logo.
Greetings, gamers. It's that time of the week where you get out. You look at the interwebs. You look at your favorite browser. You click on patreon.com. Go find it. It's a great place. Look up Will of the Dice. That's us. Subscribe to us. Help support us. When you do subscribe to us, you get access to After the Rolls. We discuss the fuckery I pulled on the players last week and what I'm about to do to them this week. Oh, I'm sorry. You also get access to the episodes before they hit the podcast and they hit YouTube. You get access to a limited time audio drama by Tiami. Occasionally, we even have other things hidden in there too. So yes, please get out there, subscribe, help support this channel because it really does help us out.
And for the next 17 subscribers, we have joined up with Red Panda Dice and Delights. You'll be getting a 55mm D20 table shaker. Yay! Smack myself in the face with my microphone. Oh, how you doing, Raph?
Oh, I'm tired. It was a busy day yesterday. For those of you who know, I went out to Adepticon, a large convention, miniatures and gaming convention out in Chicago. Spent the day out there watching games, check out the vendors. Had a good time. But yeah, I'm back. I'm here. I'm ready to chat.
And I understand you got some attention on your shirt.
Yeah, oddly enough, repping for Will of the Dice gets you attention. But yeah, I was out there. People asked about the shirt, so hopefully get a few new subscribers, a few new viewers. So we'll see from there. Watched one of my favorite, one of my game studios they followed. They had a Kickstarter go off for one of their new products, and it hit $1 million in 34 minutes. In 12 hours, it hit $3 million.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bigger company, Catalyst Game Labs. They do BattleTech, and they had a big BattleTech Kickstarter kickoff yesterday, and it just blew up. It was kind of amazing to watch. So, other than that, yeah, a lot of gaming going on, a lot of cool things out there in the market. A lot of stuff for D&D, miniatures, tabletop stuff, tchotchkes, maps, makers. They even had people selling spin casters and production level 3D printers there. So
nice.
It's a good time. If you ever get a chance, it's still going on this weekend. If you're in the Chicago area, go out, check it out. So, other than that, yeah. Let's see, what do we got for news before we jump into our topic? Wizard of the Coast has an announcement next week on the 28th. They're dropping a 30-minute video of the Way Ahead D&D Direct, what they're planning to do for the next year or so. So they did put a 30-second teaser trailer that featured a potato. I don't know why it had potatoes in it, but it had potatoes.
Yeah, I don't know.
So hopefully next week we'll probably dissect that, go through that a little bit, see what they're planning for the next year. I know people have pretty much hinted, leaked, talked that Sigil and Planescape is coming, so
Ooh,
yeah, that could be interesting. I'd be interested to see how they do that setting and how they rebuild it.
that would be awesome. What I'm curious about is what their VTT is going to be like, their virtual tabletop.
Yeah, maybe we'll see some of that in there too, because it looked like they had some virtual tabletop stuff in the 30-second trailer.
Now, I am diehard Owlbear supporter, so much so that I have switched over to Owlbear 2.0 and paid the subscription fee to get some of the bonus perks for the mid-level. We've used it. It's beautiful. I love it. I just got to importing all my spell templates into it, so we'll have those.
Yeah, we used it for the offline one shot you did last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked smoothly. I liked it. I like the templates, the ability to drop stuff in. Yeah, so yes, if you haven't used Owlbear, go check it out. It's a really well done set of software. So,
And
what do we
what's
got
so
today?
great about it? Right before we finish, I just want to say what's so great about Owlbear.rodeo. You can go check it out. Just Google Owlbear Rodeo. It's made by some individuals out of Australia. Is that it's lightweight. You can run it on anything. You can run it on your phone, on your tablet, your Chromebook. It's not resource heavy. It's mainly meant for battle maps, but you can use it for a full virtual tabletop. But definitely go check them out. Tell them Tier sent you.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's I highly recommend it. So yes, today what are we discussing?
When shit goes off the rails.
What? That never
Going
happens.
down the rails on a crazy train.
That's right. Yeah. Ugh. How do you handle as a DM? And what do we mean by when shit goes off the rails? The answer is yes. Gaming with people involves people, and people involves chaos, and chaos just happens sometimes. So, is there a particular instance you wanted to discuss, or just how do you handle it?
I have no idea. Work has
Okay.
kicked my ass this week, and so I'm just going with it today. So today will be a lot of off the cuff.
Yep. Oh, well, let's see. I did do a little digging around. One of the Facebook groups I'm in, DM did reach out for help from the group because he's having trouble with a player. Now, this is a serious, oh shit, shit's kind of gone off the rails with the group, and how do they handle it? And my answer to how I would have handled it different from some of the other advice this person has gotten, but basically they have a 5-man group. They're gaming. This is their 5th session in, and they have a player who's playing the edgy loner and not really wanting to engage with the party whatsoever.
Okay.
I mean, even in combats, they do a lot to just kind of barely get involved, dodge a lot, because they state, well, they're not my friends. We're just... So they're not participating really in what's going on. And the DM's done everything under the sun to try and get them to bring the character into the fold. And they're being cranky about it. I guess I'll let you go first because I have my answer to how I would handle this.
So if I was the DM in that situation, the first thing I'd do is set this player down and have a heart-to-heart with them. We're going to have an adult conversation and find out what's going on. Are you not enjoying this? You understand that this is a group thing. And while your characters don't have to be best friends, you do need to at least cooperate. This may not be the table for that player, and that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you have the adult conversation and determine if this is not a good fit, then just let them go.
And that was my advice to the situation was you need to talk to that player, see if they even want to play in this campaign, because everything they're producing, showing, doing says they're not willing to play with the group and really don't want to be involved. So why are they there?
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, okay, that was quick. But yeah, that was one of the things that kind of caught my eyes. I'm scrolling through things is, what happens to things go off the rails. What's else, audience, we love our audience. So if you got things or questions or antidotes of things you want to bring up, please pipe up. Here's one for you, Tier. So you've got a group, you're in a town, you're in a city, you've spent hours developing this city, building things up, you got a campaign ready to go, get started, and the players take a left turn and just keep going. Literally take a left turn and keep going.
So I've had this happen. I put the town and stuff in my back pocket. I let them go wherever direction they're going, maybe throw in some random encounters, and then they come to a town that I have in my back pocket. They don't know that it wasn't the right one. So that's how I handle it. And the one thing I want to define off the rails. So there's two types of off the rails. There is player off the rails and character off the rails. So player off the rails is like the incident you just discussed, where the player is just not getting involved, is not willing to actually put forth any effort or anything. Anything to do with your players needs to be handled 90% of the time with a face-to-face adult conversation. Communication is key in this. Character off the rails, on the other hand, that's when you got to pull out the mental acrobatics, because that's when shit gets weird.
No, never happens. One whole campaign was all based on that, but because a friend of mine. Oh, okay. 2 questions piped up, and he's referred. Yeah, they both referred to basically the previous scenario. 2 questions I've asked my players to keep that in mind as at charging at character gen. You may not be friends, but you are coworkers, and you have an interest in the enterprise succeeding. And that's, I guess, that's part of your session 0. Why are all your characters together to begin with? And you come together as a social contract to do this thing together.
Going off the rails in character, that sometimes just can throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. Perfect example, Venfira. I did not expect Venfira to openly accept the crown of Angormora that early in the game. Not only did I not expect her to accept the crown of Angormora, I did not expect Akatosh to activate the crown by acknowledging Ren as the queen of Angormora. That bypassed like months of story that I had prepared. But all you can do with it is make the changes and go with the flow. I mean, I'm not going to penalize them because they made choices and because they figured stuff out randomly. That'd be wrong as a DM. Oh, I'm going to penalize you because you figured out the key to the crown of Angormora before you were supposed to. No, it was a heartfelt acknowledgement of a friend becoming queen, and that was the key to activate the crown. So I can't be mad at that.
No, you can't. You can be frustrated slightly.
Yeah, I was frustrated, but just because, I had to take a step back and go, well, shit, now what?
What? Back in my college days, we had a campaign kickoff like that where the DM said, all right, we're going to play in Waterdeep, or a city like Waterdeep. Cool. And one of the players got squished and said, no, I'm going north. Why? Because I want to go north. I don't want to play in the city. I'm going north. And they kept going north. Well, you travel through woods. Cool. We're going to keep going. How long are you going to keep going? I don't know. Fine. You go north. You find some plains. There's nothing up in the plains. There's got to be something up in the plains. And that's when the campaign actually started, because then he had to start coming up with stuff out of his butt. Fine. There's a pit. What's in the pit? There's going to be something in the pit. There's some orcs in the pit. Oh, good. We don't kill them. And then suddenly there's a huge campaign because there's, villages and tribes and orcs and pits and inns, and sometimes it is literally just vibing off what your players do to build the story.
And that's honestly why 90% of what I do, 95% of what I do is improv. Because with my ADD, I'll get hyper focused on X, Y, and Z if I've planned out X, Y, and Z. And when the characters say, fuck X, Y, and Z, we're going to do A, B, and C, I don't know how to adapt because I'm in that mindset of this is the way we're going. And not all scenarios can be switched out and interchangeable. So that's when I started learning to improv in my DM. And I must be doing a pretty good job of it because everybody keeps telling me my shit feels like it was planned. So
What? Of course it was. Nope. Yeah. That's what to do when your players decide I'm going left. Oh, damn it! I didn't have a left. Left wasn't one of the options I gave you. What the hell?
Lolly brings up a good point, referring to our Saturday campaign Sins of Blood, that the characters were not buddy at all in the beginning, but still cooperated where needed while maintaining the distance of being coworkers.
Mhm.
And that was one of the things that I absolutely loved about the start of that campaign is that everybody was standoffish. Nobody wanted to talk about their past. Nobody wanted to reveal anything about themselves, but they would still come together for a common goal. It was
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah, and they still don't talk about our past very much.
This
Not
is
until
true.
not until it gets brought up and oh shit, what did Sarek do this time? But anyways, play the game. Yes, you're having way too much fun with the game of who does Sarek know in this port. So, but yeah, well that kind of playing with the characters' backgrounds, if you want to throw a tangent, is kind of fun because we all handed you backgrounds, and you've done work to incorporate those backgrounds. With Sarek, I gave you 6 kind of points in his life of his travels because he's traveled a lot of things that have happened, and you've kind of run with them and added a few of your own. It'd be interesting to see some of the others. I assume the others gave you very similar stories.
Yeah, everybody gave me a good story.
Mm-hmm. And now we're dealing with the Drow that seem to really want a certain character.
Yep.
So, yeah. Oh, on the other side, and given the earlier example of players actually not getting along at the table, sometimes you just got to call a session early that night and say, "Hey, we're not gelling, we're not feeling it, we're all getting kind of cranky. It's time to walk away for a bit."
And
Because
that happens.
people have bad nights, and it's okay to say, "Hey, we're done for the night. We're going to watch TV or something. We're all in a bad mood. We're not in a good headspace for this. We need to not."
And that's part of the hard call as a DM is knowing, okay, this is not a problematic, insurmountable situation. It is just a shitty day
Mm-hmm.
versus this person is going to be a problem regardless and not willing to make this a safe and fun environment for everybody. They've got to go. And I'm going to tell you something as a DM, there is nothing wrong if someone is not a good fit at your table and is making everybody else miserable to ask them to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sometimes friends outside the table sometimes aren't friends at the table.
Exactly. Two questions says a backup board game or movie is excellent for this. I agree. And Wally says that sometimes you just won't like playing with certain people, or maybe you don't like playing with a player when they are playing a certain character. It's normal, but you need to be an adult about it. And that's the thing. A lot of the social issues that come into play in D&D can be solved with communication. If someone is doing something to make you feel uncomfortable, not safe, whatever, have a private conversation with your DM. Let the DM know so the DM knows and can handle it. And if the DM refuses to handle it, then maybe you need to reevaluate your place at the table, because if the DM doesn't have everyone's best interest in mind, maybe you don't want to sit under that DM.
Mm-hmm. 2 questions. Yeah, he was that guy, and he asked himself to leave. At least
Well,
you came. Yeah. These 2 questions, you realized that you were not a good fit for that table and decided to walk away finally.
yeah, and that's a good thing, a good realization to come to. Yeah, it sucks because you're missing out on the game, but it's better than being miserable.
Yes. So,
Like I said, today's just random.
hmm
You know, uh, I should tell them about the bot.
yes, you need to talk about the bot is phenomenal. This is
Okay,
what happens when ADD programmer things to do.
so I'm working on getting some certifications for my career, and one of those is Python scripting. So after taking my course, my video courses, I decided I needed to program something practical, something useful, something original for me. It may not, I know it's not original, but it's something that I created. And so I created some generators for D&D. I created a stat generator. I created a treasure generator. I created a critical fail generator and a wild magic surge generator. But then I started asking myself, how do I deploy these? How do I use them whenever I need them? What if I'm not at my computer with, Python installed? And I thought about making a website, and I was like, no, I don't want to do a website. But I did want to do a Discord bot. So I created TierBot. And right now, TierBot will run the critical fumbles, the critical failures, and the wild magic surges. I'll be working on the stat generation and the treasure generation over the weekend. But TierBot is alive and well. And while there are probably other bots out there to do it, this one I created. And so I'm very proud of it.
Yes, it's cool. He's even got a setting to throw me in my box for some reason. I don't know why. He's just upset because I asked to put a poll out of what the body temperature of Tauntaun is. And I said the first answer has got to be lukewarm.
Oh.
And this is why I get into trouble, players. All right. Ustad's got something for us. Ustad, some people got bored with others trying to strategize and just charge into stuff. How do you handle those folks? How do you handle the different style of combat, I guess? Yeah, because you have those players who analyze the tactical situation from all angles and try to strategize the best, most efficient way to deal with the problem. And then you have those guys who scream Leroy Jenkins and go running in swinging their stick.
So how do you handle them, Raph?
I don't.
I don't either.
As a DM, I let the players figure it out. I let the players figure out how they're going to handle that situation. It is entertaining. It is entertaining, but then again, I think you need a bit of both of those in your campaigns because you start to see a bit of analysis paralysis go on.
Yes.
When it takes 45 minutes to decide whether they're going to open a door. All right, we need to move on. You need that person who's just going to open the damn door and be done with it because I'm tired of listening to them argue about it.
And that's one of the things that if it becomes an issue among the players, then you all need to sit down and have a conversation. And if you need the DM to moderate that conversation, then that's acceptable. But it, all kinds of players takes all kinds of players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, I had some very different styles of play in my last campaign. One player was very into analyzing and trying to come up with the most efficient way to do things and the most min-max way to do things. And the other player's like, we're going to fling fireball at everything. So,
That sounds like me.
Why the tank should be able to pick locks. Hey, as I said, everyone has the ability to detect traps at least once.
Lolly says that they have found when it's large groups, like over 6 players, that's when it starts to get dicey with different styles of play. Yeah, I've seen that, but again, not everybody plays their characters the same way. If they did, it'd be boring as fuck. So
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong if somebody is going to extremes that are having a negative impact on the game to have a conversation.
Mhm.
Have the DM moderate or go to the DM and have the DM have the conversation. It's important to communicate. And this is why you have session 0. This is why session 0 is so important to address a lot of this stuff, to have people be able to bring up, concerns or reservations such as these and it to be addressed.
Mm-hmm. And to put on Lolly, there's another issue there at play too. When we start looking at large groups, you start dealing with just focus issues. Everyone's waiting their turn, and because you're a large group, you're waiting longer for your turn to kind of step in and do things. And if you have more outspoken, extroverted players, they tend to jump in a lot and they tend to run over the quieter players. Or it's just not something that player's involved with, so they're kind of sitting aside, so they get bored,
Yeah.
and their attention wanders and they do other things. So that does not help the situation. That's why I don't like DMing for large groups, because it's a lot harder to try and keep everyone drawn in, especially when you're dealing with situations that are just focused on a couple characters for that bit of time.
Yeah, it can be rough.
I think some of my better campaigns have been in 2 and 3 person campaigns, because you can focus a lot more on just those 2 or 3 people to give them a much more tailored experience.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's why I do mine, and it works with 3 players, 2 players, 12 players. I do mine in arcs. Like, this arc will focus on this character, and this arc will focus on this character. And I will bring things in to engage the other characters, but the focus is on this particular character for this particular many of several or however many sessions.
Mm-hmm.
But I
And yeah,
constantly rotate it.
and it is fun. I like the arcs you've set up are fun, because it allows certain characters to step to the fore for a while, but it then allows us to step back and let other people run with the attention. Let other people have to deal with the limelight for a while.
Yeah.
So what else we got, chat? Lolly likes groups of 5 to 6 because it provides a good balance of extroverted versus introverted or reserved players. Also generally provides for a good balance in the party for party mix as well. Because you got a lot of people who like that. The number everyone seems to quote is 4. 4 seems to be the lexicon answer for a group of players. Not sure, well, because that's based off the original basic D&D, where you had a thief, you had a cleric, you had a wizard, and you had a fighter.
Yep. Yeah, my idea is I like 5 to 6, but I can DM anything. I have DM'd anything.
Yeah, I think I prefer about 3 is my happy spot. 4 works. Start getting more than that, it gets a little it starts to get a little hard to keep track of everything's going on. But the fun part with some of the smaller groups is I've got some NPCs that I can play with.
Yeah.
Like one party we had, they only had 3 players. They didn't have a healer, essentially, just because they didn't have their party mix up. So I was able to pull in the NPC healer. They healed when asked. They healed through some of the fights, but they just stepped in the background. But as a DM, it also gave me oh, by the way, my God said we should probably think about this today.
Yeah.
Here, feed them a line a hook to send them somewhere, or if they're getting off track or totally off base, it was a nice way for me to drop a hint or two about things. Let's see. Stott enjoys the games. Yes, nothing like a divine boot in the butt.
NPC and DNPCs are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
You have NPCs that are basically they're there to feed in information from time to time and do what's asked. A DNPC is you're playing that character along with the group. It has its own motivations and desires and reaching for its own goals. And so NPC and DNPC, two different things.
Yes. Although it does bring up here hits your cast tangent. This weekend I was talking with one of the writers for some of the new stuff coming out for BattleTech, and he's talking about he's building a co-op mode into the game that you can play. For those who don't know, for those who know what BattleTech is, it's big stompy robots beating on each other in a competitive game. You play against another player, your robots beating up their robots. However, and we were starting to talk about co-op seems to be the way to go these days. You're seeing more and more co-op style games out there. And he talked about it. Co-op allows for a lower bar for entry into your gaming sphere. Hi, I'm a new player. How do I figure out this game? Well, let's play a co-op game against an AI controlled opponent. That way the new player can figure out all the rules, can figure out how to make things happen without having to face a veteran player who knows all the tricks and just get stomped on. And your first game in, if you get stomped on, chances are you're not coming back.
Pretty much.
So he's like, I'm building this co-op mode for people to play. I'm like, that's brilliant. And I'm starting to see that trend in all the board games that are coming out. A lot of board games, Kickstarter coming out, are all co-op. Hey, let's play a co-op against an AI-generated monster or something like that. So, just things I've seen in the gaming sphere as I was wandering around the convention yesterday. Speaking of, what are you doing this weekend, here? No, not this weekend. Next weekend, I think.
I don't know. Wow, what's up?
Isn't there a movie dropping next weekend?
Yeah.
there is. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yep. Those who don't know, the D&D movie drops next weekend. Last I saw, it got something like a 94, 95% on Rotten Tomatoes from the early reviewers. So we may actually get a good movie for once. Like that one we won't discuss that came out many years ago.
That was absolutely fucking horrible.
And I like bad movies. Speaking of bad movies, Cocaine Bear, go see it. It's exactly what it says it is.
I have no desire to see that. I have a desire to see the D&D movie. We'll just have to see how funding is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Jeremy Irons was in the original D&D movie. He still could not save that. Oh, it was bad. I don't care how much you like Jeremy Irons. Just because it's in a movie doesn't make it good. Yes. That movie did get... Yeah. Well, here's a tangent. The old movie versus the new movie. Why did that old movie fail? It had a good cast. It had some decent effects for the time.
Because they took a comedy approach to it.
I don't know if it was that. I don't know. I think it was because there's some comedy stuff in the D&D movie that's coming out we've seen already.
Yeah, some. But this was an entire, like, it had the feel of one of those mockumentaries or something. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the terrible script is one of them. I think when the old original movie, they tried to. I think they asked non-gamers to write a movie about gaming, and they took every horrible trope they could and threw it in there.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and it was kind of slapstick, but it was just oof. I just, there were scenes in the old original movie where you had the thief literally walking by, just stealing stuff at random because he could, not even because he could,
Yeah.
just because that he's a thief. That's what they do. That's the feel behind. Like, no, what? You don't just okay. I'm running off with a stack of clothes for no reason.
Yeah.
Why? Yes, the cartoon was much better. Although there's rumored they did a final episode for that.
I
But
don't
I don't know
know.
if I've seen the script, but I don't know if they actually did the episode for it.
Fun fact about Tear, I do not watch the final episodes of shows.
What?
I do not watch the final episodes of shows. I get emotionally attached to characters and it spirals my depression when it ends. So I will watch up to the last episode and then I will go read a synopsis of the last episode just to see what happened. But I will not watch the last episode.
Oh, there's so much in those last episodes. Unless we're talking Star Wars, then they're about hit or miss some days.
Well, they only made 3 Star Wars movies. There was rumor of more, just like there was rumor of a 4th Indiana Jones movie.
Ooh, or a 5th. I'm like, they're doing a 5th Indiana Jones movie.
I wonder if Shia LaBeouf's going to be in it.
Oh, God. Never understood that actor and that with the appeal of that actor. But no one asked me, so.
Yeah. I feel you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
So
audience.
Here's an off-topic question. Paying DMs, pro or con?
That's a complicated question. Because I know a paid DM and he's a pretty good dude. And but he doesn't. He's got passive income and he uses his paid DM gigs to kind of supplement his gaming habit. He does about 4 or 5 sessions a week. I don't know what his rates are. I didn't ask.
I couldn't do it. I think I'm good enough that I could be paid. I know that sounds arrogant, but it is what it is. But I couldn't do it as a job because I would no longer love it. It would become tedious and my artistic side would hate it and I would forever leave D&D. That's why I play Who's Going to Feed the DM.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's I figure that I take the time to create the story and tell the story, then somebody can feed me.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's one we look at. It just, yeah. I'm not in a position where I could be a paid DM. Sorry, just don't have the time for it. But if I had for the time for it, then I probably wouldn't be paid for it anyways because it's something I enjoy doing.
Exactly. I have thought about that 2 questions. It says that they do D&D as a corporate team building thing. I have thought about it. But again, it would lose its spark for me. I know me. Anything I love that becomes that tedious, no, I couldn't do it.
And I think the paid part is it's the okay, I have the expectation that we're going to do this because I'm being paid to do this. Therefore, it's not a okay, I'm not feeling this today, guys. We'll reschedule for next week thing. It's you have the expectation you need to show up and perform because you're being paid to do this. It's hard for you to call off. And it's hard to phone it in too because you're being paid. It's like, well, I'm not feeling this arc very much, but we've committed to it, so therefore, all right, let's press forward, see what happens.
I mean, there's times that on just streaming that I get burnt, and thankful to have a weekend off here or there, you know. And
Yep.
I love streaming. I mean, I absolutely love it. So I can only imagine if it was, you know, my job, I wouldn't be able to stream. I couldn't do that Monday through Friday or for whatever days and then come in and stream.
Yeah. And I think it is. It's the expectation. It's that responsibility thing of I'm being paid to do this. I need to do this versus I want to do this. It's the difference between telling a kid to go do something and bribing a kid to go do something. One's going to get you a better result.
Yep.
So, all right, what else we got, audience? What do we got for things? Otherwise, I'll go look up more bad puns. There's a threat. So, Tier. Oh, speaking of random topics, Victor Smee, your character.
Yes.
I absolutely love your character. For those who haven't watched, go watch last Saturday night's the start of my one shot. It's now a two shot because we had to cut halfway through due to technical difficulties. But yes, your character is I enjoy your character.
Thank you.
Your character is an absolute coward.
Yes, he is.
And
so many people play the rogue as the edgelord, the stoic loner, you know, whatever. So I wanted to play my character as the group coward. Like, I can do all this shit, but you know,
but fuck that. The
yeah,
bad guys are that
exactly.
way. There's something evil over there. I don't want to go that way. Yeah, the party keeps nope, he's a thief. You're the one who's got to open the doors. Yes.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, this is an odd set of characters, too. Because we got Ren playing a stoner surfer type character, which is absolutely bizarre and just twitchy.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Adesha. I learned how to do all this shit. Now I'm going to go over here.
So I can go hide in the corner and you can't get to me.
Yep.
So yeah, I've enjoyed Victor Smee. He's been absolutely fun character. Yes, there's a Kender involved. Mr. Wagglebum.
Yeah, Victor Smee is part of my Neverland series. I'm playing descendants of characters from Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Mr. Smee was first mate to Captain Hook. So, you know, Victor is a descendant of that.
Yep.
What game, Ustad? He says he's playing an RPG PC game, and you remember how important the thieves are when you don't have one. Wonder what game it is.
Icewind Dale. I don't know. Although, as I said before, anyone can detect traps at least once.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you have a fighter or a barbarian? Check. Do you have a cleric with some heal spells? Check. And basically, didn't they use in your campaign do that once? Throw pants down the stairs.
Yes.
To test for traps because they didn't have their thief with them.
Yep.
So. All right, I'm thinking it's about time to. Yes, they also threw bacon as a trap diffusing device.
It worked for them once, you know, so they decided to try and press their luck again. Unfortunately, it failed.
And when we come back from our break, we have a new topic. Why Tier hates airships.
I don't hate airships, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and take our break. We'll be back in about 10, 15 minutes. And we're going to go get our beverages of choice, our snickety snacks, and we'll be back. back. Thanks so much for hanging out while we got our beverages of choice and our snickety snacks. Today we're just kind of off the rails ourselves. We discussed a little bit about what happens when players go off the rails, and now we're just sort of freestyling.
Random things. Speaking of one, I posed one question before we went to break. A half tongue-in-cheek question for you, Tier, is why do you hate airships?
I don't hate airships.
Name one airship that has survived your campaign.
The Valkyrie.
Name two.
The Iron Dancer.
It just seems like every time we got an airship in your campaign, hell, the off-stream game you ran last Sunday, you purposely crashed an airship. That was the start of the game. Hey, we're going to crash this airship while you're on it. What? At least you're being honest that time.
So you got snuck into the kingdom.
Mm-hmm. It seems like every time your characters get on an airship, something bad happens.
Not every time. Sometimes, yeah.
All right, who's our statisticians in the audience? Go review all of Will of the Dice and Cheers games and tell us how many airships have survived. I want to see that statistic. But that might be slightly flawed logic in there. But the other question I did want to bring up, though, is so you are playing a coward with Victor Schmee, cowardly character. Not necessarily a coward, a cowardly character.
Right.
The opposite of what a heroic character should look like. And it's absolutely fun. I'm enjoying it because it's a different flavor for the character. But how do you balance that with actually having to do the stuff that we get into involved with these adventures? And as a DM, how do you handle a character who's not going to go forth into the Dragon's Den because that's just that's death in there?
Well, a lot of the stuff that he does, he's doing for self-preservation. He knows that they need to figure out what the hell happened, so he's willing to take chances when chances are a must. There's a difference between being a complete coward and then cowardly but still doing what you need to do. And that's what Victor Schmee is. He's cowardly, but he'll still do what he needs to do. He's just not always happy about it.
Fair enough. And as a character archetype, it makes a great role play. It is kind of fun because it highlights, stands off from the traditional heroic characters you see with we must go defeat the whatever, and we shall go in swinging, and there's nothing that fears us. Which makes for interesting times. But it leads to a balance to the party, because your character is more likely to think about the consequences of what they're going to do, or maybe we shouldn't go that way because that way it's going to get us all killed. Let's try something different.
And that's the way I try to play him. It does. I think it's come across well. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. And then finally, there's a third question that was posed in chat. Where do skeletons store all their gold? Seriously.
In their mouth.
Ooh. There's two bits to that. One's tongue-in-cheek. The other, that's actually kind of a cool lore thought.
That's where... Okay, so anytime that you fight skeletons in Rune of Kesha, if they have gold, it's because gold was put in their mouth at burial to pay the ferryman.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times they won't have gold because they're a fucking skeleton. They have no need for gold.
No, the chat over the break was kvetching about, in some of these other role-playing games and larger computer online games where you see a skeleton and they've got nothing, and they just have a sword, and yet when you loot them, you have gold, pouches, items. You're like, where was all this shit earlier? And that was actually an issue if you think about it, back in the day when you had the treasure charts for creatures back in the second edition and stuff.
And the thing of it is that the way I look at it, the treasure doesn't have to necessarily be on them.
True.
You could, they could just be treasure in their immediate vicinity that, hey, you're in this dungeon and you killed this guy, you killed these skeletons, and there's remains of a party that wasn't so lucky. Oh, look, they had some gold on them, So it doesn't have to necessarily be on the skeleton in order to be there to be found.
True. I guess it's all in the way you flavor it once you start thinking about it. But you have to think about it first. I don't know. I was still trying to envision the prison pocket for skeletons they were talking about. So we have an entertaining chat today.
We always have entertaining chat.
Mm-hmm. We were discussing ways to open a chest without a thief, and Adacia brought up, well, do you have a barbarian? Do you have an axe? You have a way to open a chest. No guarantees of that the things inside the chest will survive, but you have a way to open it. Ooh, that also an automatic mimic detector too.
Yeah, I think smacking a mimic with an axe would get his attention.
Mimics. Actually, kind of looking forward to that and see how they handle that in the D&D movie, because we've seen it. But what else are they going to do with it besides just be a random creature in that arena?
Yeah, I really want to see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'll get to or not, but I really want to.
I don't know. You should make an effort to do it. It should be interesting because the internet's going to be all the rage and aflame with it.
Well, being disabled has its own challenges of doing something like going to the movies.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I may have to wait for it to come out on streaming service. Yes, the Displacer Beast looked awesome. Displacer Beast are one of my favorite creatures in D&D, and seeing the Displacer Beast and how well they done it, it was fucking amazing in the trailer.
I can think of one Displacer Beast you really didn't care for. Or at least it seemed like it. Wasn't his name Mr. Stuffykins?
I had no problems with Mr. Stuffykins.
I don't know. It seemed like he kept trying to blow it up, set it on fire, steal it, take. Oh, he's trying to steal is what it was.
Look, when characters have possessions that they care about, it's their job to make sure those possessions are taken care of.
I believe you got some hate mail over that one.
Yeah, I got some hate mail.
For those in the audience who didn't know, one of the characters in the past season was a goblin who had a stuffed Displacer Beast. He called him Mr. Mr. Stuffykins. And he was the goblin's pride and joy. And something happened to Mr. Stuffykins, and there was some hate.
Yeah, there was a lot of hate, but I relish in the hate.
George R. R. Martin, are you?
Yeah. Yeah, Christina was cautioned about Tiami's purse dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's as a DM, how do you handle that?
How do you handle it?
I tread very carefully around items or creatures that have become the party's what do you call them? Totems. They're
mascots.
Mascots. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Mascots. Yes. I get, because on one hand, it's an excellent trope, excellent hook to say, hey, this guy just ran off your mascot. but players put some emotional investment in their mascots for some reason.
Well, and it
You
was
never know what it's going to be.
It was the player that asked me point blank, was Mr. Stuffykins in the blast zone? By asking that, they opened the door.
Mm-hmm.
So I had them roll, and Mr. Stuffykins was destroyed, and people hated me. It was great.
Yes, but
he came back, sort of.
mm-hmm.
They found another Mr. Stuffykins and just told him that he'd been resurrected.
A brilliant piece of drama there. But I tend to be careful about how you handle that because, the players put stock in their mascots and some of their prized NPCs. It's great emotional drama to threaten, but to outright destroy, ooh, it's one of those. All right, how are we doing this? And does it further the story to do this?
So here's the deal. When I have session 0, I tell people, look, this is not going to be a walk in the park. This is going to be gritty and dirty. This is going to be filled with heartbreak and emotions. And this is something you're not going to like, some of the shit that happens. But I'm very honest and upfront about it. And that was one of the things that people didn't like that happened. Mr. Stuffykins got destroyed. It's like when Sarah died.
Oh, that was a rough one.
Or when Dandy died. When Dandy's parents killed her.
Yeah, that was a broken moment. But those made for epic moments, and you did it correctly. You did it well in the story wise. Again, you took the time took the time and the effort to do it right. Versus just oh yes, I'm now going to destroy your favorite thing just out of spite. I mean,
Stuffykins survived a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Stuffykins did.
And if Dan hadn't asked if he was in the blast zone, I wouldn't have said anything. Because it was on my mind, but I'm like, I'm not going to pull that trigger. I'm not going to die on that hill.
Nope, Dan did it for you. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, as Latinx says, sometimes it furthers the emotional investment in the story. Or as two questions brought earlier, it's also very realistic when people get involved with their totems, their mascots, their standards. Because back in history, soldiers revered their standards back in the day. Rome fought wars to go recover standards from historic units. So, yeah, it's absolutely historically accurate. Ooh. Just had a random thought.
Uh-oh.
This is the problem of being, be slightly tired and oddly caffeinated. So, you come across this standard in the middle of the forest. Kind of a bit tattered. It's got some skulls on it. It's got some iconography on it that you don't recognize. What do you do?
We'll answer that question in Act 2 of Sins of Blood. Because that's already something that's going on.
Oh, damn!
No, I don't think that you need to go watch cartoons.
Come watch us.
If you get upset and you're sending me hate mail, that means that I drew you in emotionally enough that you had to express it. And that's what I want to do. I don't mind getting hate mail. I got all kinds of you bastards when Dandy died, when Sarah died, when Stuffykins died. Nobody threatened physical violence or anything like that, but they did let me know that I was a bastard, and I revel in that. Because that is part of my job as a storyteller, is to bring you in emotionally, to get you involved into the story. That loss brings you emotion. you feel the pain of loss. You feel the joy of victory. You feel the agony and turmoil of the chaos. That's my job as a storyteller. And so if I've got you that involved, then I'm doing my job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ooh. There's a poll for the masses. Whose death was best, Sarah's or Dandy's?
I think they were both. No, when I say hate mail, I'm not saying like people are like, I'm going to catch you out in public and monkey stomp you or anything like that. They're just calling me a bastard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there things like that. You know, they enjoyed the story, but I'm still a bastard for what I did. It's nothing hardcore, but even if it was, that still means I'm doing my job. I think that the thing that made Sarah's death so much harder is that everybody knew it was permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Because Atlanta was having to leave, and that was the exit, was Sarah dying. And I think that that's one of the things and I think that one of the things that made it much more emotional is, Dandy was portrayed by her parents, but Dandy didn't know her parents. They had been gone since Dandy was 10 years old. Sarah willingly laid down her life for the party. There was no monster. It was a sacrifice. It was laying on this altar, knowing that I've got to give my life so the forges can be lit. You know, and it was an emotional tug at the heartstrings. And I think that that's why people got so upset about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Ustade does hit on a valid point, and that's an issue with fandoms. Granted, our fandom is the best fandom ever. They support us and they don't actually mean us harm and hate, but just in general, yeah, you do have in the larger fandoms, you have the trolls and the whatnots that have no issue sending nasty hate mail and death threats to people because they're upset with the choices that were made. And no, our fans don't do that, and I don't think our fans would put up with anybody who would do that.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Although they did say Dandy's death was to the point where it did want to someone to come take your printer away from you.
Yeah, and that's what I said. That means I'm doing a good job. You know, that means we are doing a good job. We're telling a story that has you emotionally invested. You're emotionally invested in the characters and stuff, and that means the player's doing a good job, and me as the DM are doing a good job. And so that's the kind of things that I like to see.
Yeah. Speaking of jobs, if you haven't followed the streams, we got some exits and entrances coming as we jump into Arc 2 for Sins of Blood.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to that and kind of not, because it's going to be kind of an emotional change.
It will be, and I expect to do my damnedest to make it as emotional as possible for the players and for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be emotional because it's an emotional thing. Look, when you look at this, okay, I'm going to use the SCA as an example. We have an event that happens every year in Pennsylvania called Pensic War. It's this huge fucking gathering of like-minded individuals come together. You're thrust back in time to the medieval ages because everybody's living out of tents. There's no electricity. Everybody's got torches and cooking over fires, and you're going to war or going to classes. And then in the evenings, you're reveling and having libations and everything, there's a certain crash that comes at the end of it when you part ways with these people that you spent 2 weeks with. There's a sadness that takes you, and it takes you a couple of days to acclimate back into normal society. Well, this party has been traveling together for X amount of time. They've fought together. They've bled together. They've damn near died together. Look at everything they faced together. So yes, there should be emotion involved with one of the party members leaving.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also, dreading it because I've enjoyed that character that they've been playing, and they're now going to be bringing a new character, which will be entertaining and good, but yeah, it's going to be an emotional hit because oh no, we've lost that character. That character was integral to the story and as an anchor to the party.
Yeah, and it's going to be emotional for me as the DM because I have crafted this world and this story around these players, and so seeing the party change, it was hard to kill Sarah. It was hard to kill Dandy. It was not something easy for me to do. It was emotional for me. I suffered hellacious DM crash after those episodes. I shed tears after those episodes when we had finished and I got to turn off the DM switch and let myself come down. I literally shed tears because it was an emotional fucking thing. But it makes such good story.
Mm-hmm.
And Sins has been going nonstop, Lolly, and that's the thing about it. And it's been intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
Act 2 is going to be a lot more laid back, a lot more reserved, more RP heavy.
26 episodes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. It's like you put a number to it. Don't do that. But yeah, that's
half a year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, but Sins is different from Bloodlines, and Bloodlines is its own story, and that's got some interesting issues there. I need to. I fully admit I haven't been keeping up with Bloodlines because of life and my being able to listen to things schedule. But yeah, that's a different set of characters over there. But it's fun to transpose to compare and contrast.
It is.
And I'm trying not to give away some of the big spoilers that are hitting. Like, ooh, I might have to tune into that one just to see how bad that goes, or good that goes, as you were. Well, here's a random DM question for you. Yeah. You're running a split campaign.
Yes.
Two very different parties doing two very different things in the campaign, kinda. And what's the difference for you doing that? And you've done this twice now versus running for a single party campaign.
I like doing it this way because it allows me to interweave the story. And it's like I've always said, Rune of Kesha is a living thing. It's constantly changing, evolving, growing. Things are always happening. So this allows me to show the impact that one party may have on the other. The event that I believe you're referring to that's going to happen is a direct result of another party doing something, it's going to directly impact the other party. And I absolutely love just being able to intricately weave that web together. And Two Questions says a buddy of theirs is running 3 campaigns at once. It does lead to some hardcore railroading if you're not careful. I have not railroaded my players. I didn't railroad them in season 1 between the Darkened Queen and the Shadowed Rose and Scions of Oblivion, and I haven't railroaded them here in Sins of Blood and Bloodlines. So I let the story tell itself.
Well, I guess that does lead to an interesting question, because how much more world building has that caused you to have in the wings?
Oh, shit ton. Epic shit ton. I had to look deeper into things that were just little pins on a map, like Trinity Falls. That was just a little pin on a map.
Mhm.
I knew what was there, kinda, but it had no real culture, subcultures, anything like that. A lot of these different places, that's what it's been like. That I'm having to, scope them out and do it quickly so that I can give that information to my players. So yeah.
Not that I'm paranoid that you mentioned that place, but now I'm paranoid. But anyways,
You should be.
damn it. Stretch.
So let me ask you this: as
Okay.
a player, what's it like playing in a campaign where the two campaigns intersect?
I'm playing in two campaigns that are like this. In this campaign, it's like playing in a single party campaign, because we're only seeing our part of the campaign. We know there's another party out there doing things, but we really haven't interacted much and gotten involved much with what they're doing, at least from what we've seen. At our level, we haven't seen the transitions and the cross influences very much. So it's kind of like, okay, they're there somewhere, but we're doing our thing. We're dealing with our thing. Now, in the other campaign I'm playing with the two parties, it's been a little more dynamic. We've actually had a mass session where the two parties actually collided in space and time at one spot and had a large session together. Didn't go so well, but it happened. But it's affected how we think, because we know there's another party out there, and they're not necessarily moving in the same direction we're moving or have the same goals that we do. So it's kind of led to some, all right, next time we meet, because we know we're going to meet again, are we going to have conflict again, and are we prepared for
it? And it may be because you haven't been listening to Bloodlines, because there have been Easter eggs that have traveled over. There have been events happen that because of Bloodlines impacting sins, and events because of sins impacting Bloodlines. The perfect example is the box of transmutation. That was held by the characters in Bloodlines. They were hijacked on a ship, and some of their party were threatened to death if they didn't give up the box. Those people then traveled to the Swamp of Morning Solace, because there was a ritual they were going to perform, and ran into the party of Sins of Blood. Completely random. I rolled the dice to see if you two would ever cross paths, and you did. And then that led to a whole nother thing. So there's been the Easter eggs and the moments, and they'll be larger scale, more recognizable in Act 2.
Okay. Well, I think that's maybe that part is because I haven't been I haven't dug into Bloodlines much. That's also kept my characters focused and kept me from reacting to those Easter eggs when they show up. To me, they're fresh things to deal with. I don't have that emotional or information behind them to change or influence my thoughts and decisions. Which is interesting if you think about it. Because for your players, because you got players playing in both campaigns, they got to be very careful about metagaming in that, and reacting to things that should pop up in one and the other. Although I do catch you enjoying the looks on their faces when you bring characters across, especially the evil, horrible bastard characters.
Yes, and they're actually helping the other party.
Yeah, but it's very different because the campaign we're in on the outside, where we got two campaigns, the players cross talk a lot because we hang out socially outside of the game. It's been kind of interesting watching us try to not feed information to each other about what's going on because we don't want to give the other party the advantage.
Well, saying these are two opposed parties, whereas Bloodlines and Sins are working towards a common goal, or were. You know,
who knows what we're working towards now?
I know.
Oh yeah,
Xanthor's the perfect example. When in Bloodlines, Xanthor is causing chaos and havoc and harming characters and all this shit, just making their lives miserable. But in Sins of Blood, he's helping the party because he had ulterior motives. You know, so.
Oh yeah, and for us in Sins of Blood, we're like, oh, okay, cool. Who's this strange dude? Or the death god that just showed up and took a ascending stone for us.
Raza Hazar.
Raza Hazar, like, oh cool, Raza Hazar. Who's this dude? Oh, okay. You want to take something for us? Cool.
He's the one that brings the Nightmare Realm into being. Yep.
Cool. We met that dude and we moved off. Tarek, in my mind, oh, great, cool. Now I listened to the stories from the other players from the other side, like, oh, that bastard. So that part's entertaining, at least for me.
Right, go ahead.
I have to answer Lolly. I mean, Lolly seems to think we're always suspicious about everything. No, we're not. It's all rainbows, puppies, and unicorns. Always.
Exactly.
Nothing to be suspicious about whatsoever.
Rainbows, puppies, and unicorns.
Well, that is true. She is correct, though. In the Sins of Blood party line, the party itself is suspicious of everything. Because as a party, we didn't bond that way.
Well, and all of them have shady backgrounds.
And you put that into our characters. And we all have backgrounds we're not exactly proud of and don't want to talk about. So it led to you set it up, so it led to the point where we're not trustful of others, and we tend to be very suspicious of things that goes on. When I watch the Bloodlines, listen to Bloodlines, it's a very different feel. They all kind of fell in together and are bonded fairly strongly together. They talk and don't harbor too many ill feelings towards each other. So, and yeah, all hail Raza Hazar. I kind of like the Glow Cloud. All hail the Glow Cloud.
Well, since you've not been paying attention to Bloodlines, Tiami, Christina's character, who was a Minotaur cleric to a Minotaur god of wisdom, changed their deity to Raza Hazar and has become the Gura or arch priest of Raza Hazar, the Speaker of Nightmares. That is their title. They are the Gura of Raza Hazar. They are the Speaker of Nightmares. And
I am way behind. Damn.
That has opened up some doors to give me some great ideas for things to come.
Ooh, that's as someone would say, that's a choice. That's a strong choice. That'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
So I will convey what Christina has said to me, since people are saying they don't understand. In all of this that's been going on, the only person that has been present, that has been completely forthright and honest, and has offered genuine help to the party of Bloodlines has been Raza Hazar. Their own deity has not been present, or their former deity has not been present. All of the other people they've encountered have twisted the truth in one fashion or another to suit themselves. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe.
You wonder why we're suspicious.
But Raza Hazar had been constant. Raza Hazar's alignment is true neutral. He's not evil. Just because it's a realm of nightmares doesn't make it an evil place. Now, Malacusius, the scourge of the nightmare realm, Razahazar's son, him an evil bastard.
Oh, we know.
But Razahazar's not evil. And so Tiami felt this pulling towards Razahazar and took it. And I think it was an excellent choice, and it makes for a great story.
Yeah, it does. And that'll be interesting to see how that plays out because just the Speaker of Nightmares does not engender positive attitudes when you first hear about it. But yeah, speaking of parties, like the Sins of Blood party, yeah, all our characters are traumatized. They all have their traumas they're dealing with as well, which has been interesting to role play out and deal with in the setting. And it's kind of seen some that come out as they start to deal with each other again and again and again. Which is kind of sad to see one of the characters go. So, all right, chat. What else you got for us?
While they're doing that, I'm going to expound on something. I felt that I absolutely loved the reaction that everyone had to the dungeon of wrought iron. It was absolutely beautiful to see how everyone reacted to this macabre, fey-destroying place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in some ways, experiencing it together brought the party closer. And so yeah, it'll be interesting when one of the party members leave.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be interesting considering our choices coming up here in Act 2, considering we rescued the queen from said fairy dungeon.
Yep. And saved their life.
Mm-hmm. So, things to ponder, but how much did you plan of that ahead of time?
Which part?
Yes. The dungeon, yeah, just the overall act of the queen.
Oh yeah, that was bullet points.
In your story arc, because yeah, that led to some rather interesting questions. Because how many false parents did we find for?
One, y'all. Well, two, if you count the one that Mistress LaRue threw in.
Yeah, you have to have trials to grow your character. That's correct, Ustad. And yes, I'm looking forward to meeting the new character. It should be entertaining. I hope you all love it. Yeah, Patrick's going to have some fun with that. So I look forward to it. All right, what else we got in chat?
Was there ever any doubt that Sarek would stay?
Not really, no. He would stay. At this point, he's been given, a rather large magic item that's kind of bonded with and kind of given him a direction again in his life. He's no longer just a wandering sellsword who's kind of tired. He now has something, a goal, a thing to work with. He can't just put down Arabane's patience and walk away. At least not yet. He's still got more story left.
Latina C 2002, aka Christina, aka Tiami, wants to know what's with the fake moms this season. It was my decision in order to create drama, confusion, and mistrust to have Duna be a changeling and the real Duna found. It was story arc purpose to have Llewellyn Rose be captured and a member of House Talonor have taken their place?
I know this guy named Freud who'd like to speak to you. But yeah, it did. It caused mistrust and confusion all over the place. But that's part of the story, I think, of this arc. You know, we started out in a mushroom dream.
Yeah.
For a while, we were highly confused about what was going on.
And that was all intentional. And it was all intentionally done by Lady Bianca to keep you moving forward, but without asking too many questions. Set the rabbit to the task, but don't let it look around for hawks type thing.
Yeah, that was an interesting, because I've had some questions about, you know, the decisions my character took with the breaking of that stone. But that was why, and why at that point. But I think we've been building to that for a while, because you dropped several hints that we were carrying one of the stones in the sword. And Sarek was, and I think that's kind of the nature of our party. We don't tell secrets like that to people. We tend not to speak of those things.
Right.
And he just kind of like, you know what, I'm going to keep it quiet, because if I'm the only one if I think I'm the only one who knows about it, and I'm the only one to talk, and if I don't talk about it, no one else knows the secret.
And that's fair.
And then, yeah, I chose the time he did because he just escaped by sheer God luck, literally God luck, from death before he completes the task of destroying that stone. He's like, nope, we're on the ground. I just escaped from dear God death. Let's finish this stone off now before something else tries to stop me or kill me, or because the other part was, you know, I could have done it on the airship, and that sounded like a bad idea, especially given our history with airships. Let's blow up a magical stone while we're in mid-air on a ship. That sounds like a brilliant idea. Almost as good as throwing bacon at it. With a gust of wind.
All right, guys, we're going to call it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. My back is just shot, and I got to work tonight. The sister to the drowned ferret, the rabid mongoose, needs a captain 2 questions. So that's the sister ship. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today and for chatting with us. We absolutely love our time spent here with you guys on Fridays. So we're going to take a moment, just remind you who we are, where you can find us, and we're going to get the hell out of here.
All right. Greetings, gamers. I'm Raph the Mad, one of your co-hosts on this just wandering train wreck of an episode. I'd like to remind you, tomorrow night I'll be finishing up the second part of my one-shot. It was a dark and stormy night. So tune in tomorrow night, usual time at 8 o'clock Eastern time for that. I can be found at BLK Dragon 13,000 at Dice.camp on Mastodon. And
I'm Tier the DM, the world's okayest DM, and you can find me on Twitter at Tier_the_DM. Just remember, guys, that though things get dark and times get tough, you're not alone. Remember to find someone and bask in their love until you're strong enough to let someone bask in yours. Remember that love and inclusion, these are the torches that light a path to a better tomorrow. Come join us and be torchbearers. And until next time, if someone doesn't know, don't cast aspersions, cast guidance. We love you guys.